Hello everyone. We are starting Unit 2 with Chapter 5, Gender and Gender Roles. In the Unit 2 overview, we introduced you all to the concepts of gender, gender roles, and gender variations. During your reading of the chapter, you will find that it is very comprehensive and covers a variety of topics related to gender and its complex nature. However, in this lecturette, I would like to focus on gender socialization and gender scripting. So let's get started. During infancy and early childhood, children's most important source of learning is the primary caregiver, whether that's the mother, father, grandparents, or other family members and friends. Just think, the first day after birth, parents dress their daughters in pink and characterize them as soft, pretty, and delicate, while they dress their sons in blue and characterize them as strong, handsome, big, and bold. Many parents are not aware that their words and actions contribute to their children's gender role socialization, nor are they aware that they treat their daughters and sons differently because of their gender. For example, little girls are taught that ladies are to be seen and not heard, while they are given baby dolls and kitchenette sets as toys. On the other hand, little boys are taught that boys don't cry and are given trucks and tool sets as toys. Although parents may recognize that they respond differently to sons than to daughters, they usually have a ready explanation, such as the natural differences in the temperament and behavior of girls and boys. With that being said, children are socialized in gender roles through several very subtle processes. 1. Manipulation. Parents manipulate their children from infancy onward. They treat a daughter gently, tell her she is pretty, and advise her that nice girls do not fight. They treat a son roughly, tell him he is strong, and advise him that big boys do not cry. Eventually, most children incorporate their parents' views in such matters as key parts of their personalities. 2. Channeling. Children are channeled by directing their attention to specific objects. Toys, for example, are differentiated by sex. Dolls are considered appropriate for girls and cars for boys. 3. Verbal appellation. Parents use different words with boys and girls to describe the same behavior. A boy who pushes others may be described as active, whereas a girl who does the same is usually called aggressive. 4. Activity exposure. The activity exposure of girls and boys differ greatly. Although both are usually exposed to a variety of activities early in life, boys are discouraged from imitating their mothers, whereas girls are encouraged to be mother's little helper. As children grow older, their social world expands, and so do their sources of learning. Teachers, peers, and media become important influences on gender socialization and bias. Can you think of some factors that influence our gender socialization? Well, how has gender socialization impacted your sexual development? Gender socialization leads us to believe that there are inherent differences between genders, when in actuality, differences between females and males are minimal or non-existent. However, culture creates and exaggerates these differences through the creation of schemas. As people, we like to categorize people, places, and things in a variety of ways to help us process information. Think about it. We characterize people as black, white, or Hispanic, tall, short, fat, skinny, and so on. Gender is just one way we tend to characterize people. In our culture, we have gender schemas that tell us what it means to be male or female, masculine or feminine. Gender schemas tell us which actions, behaviors, clothing, and colors are appropriate or inappropriate for a particular gender. For example, pink is for girls and blue is for boys. Mothers are nurturers while fathers are disciplinarians. Women wear skirts and men wear pants. Processing information by gender is important in cultures such as ours for several reasons. Gender schema cultures make multiple associations between gender and other non-sex linked qualities such as affection and strength. Such cultures make gender distinctions important, using them as a basis for norms, status, taboos, and privileges. Now that we have discussed gender socialization and schemas, you now understand that our gender roles and subsequent sexual identity isn't a mere occurrence. Instead, it is socially and culturally constructed and shapes our perceptions and expressions of appropriate and normative sexual behavior and interactions. Our culture has provided us with scripts that moderate our gender roles and how they should be enacted in our varying interpersonal relationships. Similar to a stage play, gender and sexuality is a performance. One's gender and sexuality consist of various scripts that are learned and performed according to the various scenes or social contexts they may be placed in. In essence, gender and sexual scripts influence how individuals view themselves, how they view and relate to others, and how others view and relate to them. Based on your reading of the chapter, can you identify any traditional scripts that relate to men or women in our society? Think about the script of the hypersexual man, how men are always ready, willing, and waiting for sex. No matter what else is going on, he wants sex and should be in constant pursuit of it. How about the chaste, modest woman? Women shouldn't talk about sex and are quite uncomfortable with the topic. They are expected not to have strong sexual feelings. What about scripts that differ across racial, ethnic, and sexual groups? What about the script of the docile and submissive Asian woman who complies with her partner's wishes and needs without question? Or the script of the effeminate gay black man who is loud, flamboyant, and oftentimes sexually promiscuous? How about the exotic Latina who is overly sensual and passionate with a curvaceous body to match? If you haven't noticed, the scripts that are often developed and reinforce certain gender roles and stereotypes we have about men and women in certain racial, ethnic, and sexual groups. Although traditional gender roles and scripts still exist today, contemporary gender roles are evolving and include more egalitarian and androgynous roles. I like to refer to these emerging roles as hybrids because they tend to mix elements of the traditional with new elements of the contemporary. Contemporary sexual scripts include the following elements for both sexes. Sexual expression is positive and healthy. Sexual activities involve mutual exchange of erotic pleasure. Sexuality is equally involving and both partners are equally responsible. Sexual activities may be initiated by either partner. Both partners have the freedom to experience orgasm no matter from what type of stimulation. Sex is acceptable within a relational or a non-relational context. Do you think these roles and scripts are inclusive and fit people across the spectrum of gender, race, nationality, and sexual identity? Think about it. These contemporary scripts have the possibility to support intimacy and satisfaction in relationships, both homosexual and heterosexual, by allowing individuals to better understand gender-related issues and their impact on relationships. This deepened understanding, along with the celebration of uniqueness of each individual, can assist people in recognizing and freeing themselves from ineffectual and limiting stereotypes. With that being said, as you read through the chapter, just continue to think about these gender roles, continue to think about these gender scripts, and the roles that they play in our lives in helping to shape our schemas when it comes to gender and gender performance, about what it means to be a man or what it means to be a woman.